Hey there, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock and it's time for a Talk Magic. Now, I am super excited because I have on the channel today somebody I've been wanting to interview for a long time. This is a gentleman that blew me away at the Blackpool Magic Convention, absolutely blew me away, and is the head of the British Secret Service Magic Gadgets for Stealth Operations, which, you know, if you're a pro, then you know about this company because, you know, the effects that are released through the British Secret Service are absolutely incredible. And I have here the founder and the CEO of the British Secret Service, an incredible performer, an incredible creator, and somebody who at Blackpool performed my trick to me better than I do it. I am, of course, talking about the one and only Mike Davis. How you doing, Mike?
Very good. How are you, Craig? You all right?
I'm good. It took me a couple of months to get you on the channel purely because I resented you after Blackpool because you came over to me in the Ruskin and you showed me your handling of Keymaster. And I was like, okay, it's his handling. And then you just proceeded to melt my brain and just show me moves that I didn't even think were possible with Keymaster. It was
No, get
incredible.
out. I was so nervous. It's lovely to meet you.
Dude, it was so good. And then at the end of the convention, you came over and you just melted my brain a little bit more with some of your own creations. And I have to be honest, I hadn't really checked out much of your stuff beforehand. A lot of people were saying to me, "You've got to go and look at the British Secret Service. You've got to go and check their stuff out." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll have time. I haven't got time. I'll do it." And I really regret not checking out your stuff earlier because my gosh, incredible, absolutely incredible. And a lot of people have been asking for this interview, so I'm so glad we're able to mesh our schedules together and make it happen.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out. It's a pleasure to speak with you. We've been working really hard, putting lots and lots of things together over the last 2 years now. We've been in business 2 years, so it's
Wow.
going really, really well. And yeah, it's just it's nice to be able to speak with you and meet everybody and kind of just tell you what we're up to.
Well, I want to find out all about you, all about your company, how it founded 2 years ago was the pandemic. Seems insane that you're actually starting a company in the middle of a pandemic, but the fact that it's actually worked and you know you had your booth was so busy at Blackpool. I
Yeah,
can't
we did pretty
wait.
well.
Man, I've got so many questions. But
Oh.
if there's anybody like me that stupidly wasn't really aware of you that much until this point,
Hmm.
we're going to start this interview at the very beginning
Sure.
because everyone has an origin story. Let me put my phone on silent because that's very rude. Every sort of magician has an origin story. What's yours, Mike? How did you get into magic? Where did that all happen?
How did I get into magic? Well, I have the old story, I guess, of like magic sets and Paul Daniels magic set specifically. Yeah, I'm that old. Um, but the story goes that we went out to Harrods, I believe, and I was given a magic set and was doing tricks on the train on the way home. I don't remember, but that's apparently the story. But I had a bit of a hiatus away from it, discovering girls and alcohol and all those kinds of things. And then I met uh, an ex-girlfriend called Jade, and her dad was a magician. He showed me a couple of tricks, actually. I remember them to this day. The French drop being one of them. And I love coin magic. And every single time where somebody asks me to show them a trick at a gig, I'll always show them the French drop as a kind of homage to Paul. And he
Mhm.
also showed me this amazing trick with the six dice inside the box, and then you shake a dice and they're all exact. Yeah, I can't remember
Lovely,
what it's called,
yeah.
but
Ma it's sold now by Martin Duffy. His
oh
company
right, okay.
sells it and makes some really nice ones out of mahogany.
I've got a lovely rosewood set
Mm.
of Paul's because I handled his estate sale after he passed away, unfortunately. But that was kind of when I got back into magic, and it just showed me these things. I just what is happening is brilliant, like really, really good.
And
And then
how
I
can
just
I just ask, Mike, how old were you at that point?
I must have been 20, 20. I've been performing for about 15 years now. And so, yeah, I must have been about 20, 25-ish, something like that.
That's
Yeah.
great. I mean, before you go any further, that's great because I have so many people that come onto this channel and go, oh, I'm 25. Is it too young to get into magic? I'm 20. I'm 20 to 30. Is it too young to get into magic?
Young.
Points. Too old to get into magic.
Oh
Sorry.
right, yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I always point to Doc Eason and say, well, this is a guy that didn't get into it until his 40s. So, the fact that you didn't even really kind of properly get back into magic until you were 25,
Hmm.
very inspirational.
Yeah, then you start picking up things and learning things and getting books and buying tricks and there's the local club in my town because I'm from Southend on Sea, and you got the Southend Sorcerers. So I joined the Southend Sorcerers and started doing like free shows for them because they do a lot of shows for schools and to get money in for the club, to support the club, and started to do that. And then you start to figure out that you've got to figure out a good set of 10 or so minutes. You go table to table, and then I got my first booking, and it was at Rochford 100 Golf Club, and I was given a dressing room,
Wow.
and I was so nervous. I stood in that dressing room for about 25 minutes before I came out and did anything. I remember it. But
And,
yeah,
and
no.
how long into your journey was that? So you got back into magic at 25. At what age were you doing your first gig?
I said because I'd show things like I do a kind of Magic Friday at work. Do you know Jamie D. Grant?
I
Magic
remember that, yeah.
Fridays, and he would always show the same trick to loads and loads of people. And by the time you've done it 10, 15 times, you know exactly how people are going to react. And you've honed it over that period of time. So I'd always do Magic Friday at work. So it must have been a couple of years, I guess, to get up, to build up the courage and to start um, not advertising, but going through word of mouth and finding out that people actually want something like that. And yeah, no, it went. I can't say it was brilliant, but I learned such a lot from it that I wanted to. You got the buzz, and I wanted to do it again. And it's so weird, but a couple of years ago, I had another gig at Rochford 100 Golf Club, and I walked in and thought, "Oh my god, I'm so different." All the things you've learned over those, gosh, it must have been like 12, 13 years of performing and going back into the same gig. That was a really strange experience.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't get a dressing room that time though.
Dressing room. Oh, it's going down in the world.
Yeah, going down in the world.
So what was the goal? I mean, sorry, how long was it? So you got back into magic at 25. How old were you at that first gig? Sorry. I don't think you told us.
27-ish.
27. So for 2 years, for the first 2 years, you were kind of learning and studying and immersing yourself in magic. When you took that first gig on, was that taking it on just for fun, or did you aspire to become a professional or a semi-professional? Did you look at it as an income stream, as like, oh, I can make extra money, or was it just, hey, this is a chance to go and show what I do to people?
I've always had a certain mentor, and this mentor of mine is a professional magician, and I've always wanted to be at that kind of level. And so at the time, I didn't go into it thinking it's going to be an income stream or this is going to work, or I was just taking a chance, if I'm honest. But as the years ago has rolled by, and you get more and more word of mouth and much better reputation and a lot more opportunities to perform in different environments for different kinds of people, it's turned into a really good side income. I have a full-time job, I've got a full-time position, but it's not something that I could ever give up. I think because I have like family and a mortgage and all those kinds of things, I think it is important to have something that I can really rely on, but at the same time get as much kind of work in as possible.
Yeah.
Um, I'm at that stage where I'd like to move into performing as much as I can and then working on British Secret Service and have that as the full time thing. But I'm trying to be sensible at the moment.
Well, that's the thing. Why rush into it? I mean, I
Yeah.
always say to people, when they want to go full time, I'm like, well, be very careful, because when you make that decision, you don't have that reliable income anymore. It's
I
gone.
think you've got to have a full book of business, a full, absolutely full diary before you could have, that kind of,
For sure.
yeah, yeah.
100%. Okay. So, but I mean, you did that first gig and it went well. You learnt lots. So were you then kind of thinking, right, okay, I'm going to perform some more. I'm going to look out for other opportunities to perform.
Hmm.
Um, I suppose the question I'm trying to ask here is, at what point did you switch from being a performer to wanting to create magic? Because obviously, I've seen some of your creations. They're fantastic.
Thank you.
Where did that desire come from? How did you get from
Mm.
going out and doing my first gig at a golf club, I'm super nervous, to, hey, I'm Mr. British Secret Service, this is my creation? How did that path come to be?
Well, I started to realize there's a big industry, and there's lots of different ways in which I can help people with their magic.
Mhm.
So I started off a long time ago on eBay, and what I would do, I would, you'd get gaff decks of cards,
Mhm.
and there'd be lots of different versions, and lots of them didn't have any kind of routine behind it. So what I would do, I would buy gaff decks in bulk, and I'd split up all the cards, and I'd record videos on YouTube, and I would sell a free tutorial with this particular card.
Wow,
And
what an idea.
it went stronger and stronger and stronger. And I must have about 300 videos of just routines that I've come up with, to do with these gaff cards. Um, and they went really, really well. And so that was all going on in the background, and it was just, an extra little income stream, um, you know, enough to fund your own kind of magic purchases and stuff like that. And me, like a lot of people out there, and I'm sure yourself, have bought a lot of magic tricks, and I started to quickly realise how shoddy some of the things you'd get through the post. And there's one trick in particular, and I remember it. I can't remember the name of it. It might have been Evanescence or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember, but it was a vanishing card. It was purported to be a vanishing playing card, and I thought, perfect. That's exactly what I need. So it arrived, and they forgot to mention that you need a black close-up mat. So they didn't mention that in the advertising. This is before review shows. This is before, like, you could go on the internet and find out about different tricks, or there's none of that kind of stuff at the time. So it arrived, and you needed a black close-up mat, and it needed to be velvet as well. And what it was a playing card with black velvet on the back of it, and it was so badly made, like literally a monkey with his eyes closed could have made this better, and that's being offensive to monkeys.
Oh, man.
It was so badly put together. You had a white border on the back of it. There's no way it could it wouldn't fool anybody. So I was really, because I really, really wanted to be able to vanish a card, a bit wet behind the ears, or a bit green at the time. And then I realised, well, I can make things. I can make things better than this. And so that was really the driver for me to start to create my own things and start to make um, gimmicks and flap cards and all manner of different kinds of things. And I've been doing that for many, many years now. So I just kind of was incensed about all of these things that you would start to receive, and that they just really were not the kind of quality that I knew that I could do myself. I'm a bit crafty, me, and a lot of people, as far as I understand it, don't really like the arts and crafts part of it. But as part of a hobby, if you call magic a hobby, I've always loved the arts and crafts side of it. I've always really, really enjoyed the intricacy and the precision and the patience involved. It's just the way I'm made. So I yeah, that's I guess where it all came from in terms of me wanting to create my own things. But the other thing I'd mention is that there's two movies that I really like
Hmm.
as a boy. One of them is about two con men, and one of them is The Great Escape. And when I grew up, I either wanted to be a con man, or some kind of person that, like, in the Secret Service, or some kind of spy or something like that. And I think having the opportunity to kind of make things that look ordinary but contain a secret is that's something I'm really passionate about, because I just really like the secretive element of it. I like that you can disguise something. I think I like to be able to hide something within something that looks very ordinary. Yeah, yeah,
Makes sense. So, so initially, were you creating magic just for your own purposes? I suppose the question I'm asking yourself is, when did you think? So obviously, you were doing the eBay thing, and you were
yeah.
but that's not creating, like, that's just taking something else and creating a routine around it.
Hmm.
When did you say, you know what, I want to actually put a shop together, and I want to offer my own creations out to the world so that everyone can get it? When did that? But you say the company was formed a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
it
what-
was
I
within
mean, obviously
lockdown.
that's
Yeah,
in
it
the
was,
tail end of lockdown, I imagine, sort of
yeah,
around
it
about.
was uh, in the in that side of it. So the eBay thing had grown to the point where people were getting in touch with me to make them things, things that may have gone out of stock or been discontinued, kind of maybe reverse engineer certain things, or make like custom things out of their brand of cards. And although when you start off you need quite a lot of validation from people, like, is this good enough? I mean, you want a lot of feedback. You want to give, send things away, and wait for someone to say, oh, this is good, and then pay you afterwards, and all those kinds of things that I went through. um I you know it got to the point where I'd built up so much confidence about routining and helping other people with their routines, and I've got a lot of collaborators that I work with, and we help each other and discuss, uh, and help each other improve what we're doing, like in terms of stage routines or parlor routines or close up. So I think I built up a lot of confidence with that, with 300 different videos of things that have just come out of my mind. Then lockdown occurred, and I've been working at home, so quite a lot of time on your hands. And there were things coming out in the market, especially Andrash and Benke, Andrash Bratasi and Benke Smith from Peak Smith.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, so they were releasing their early versions of Peak Smith, and I'd kind of hooked into that. I was really interested in remotes, especially Matthew Wilson's remote. I don't know if you know, Matthew's in Birmingham, Alabama, and he makes everything himself, and he's got a Nexus remote now. Then you've got Andras, who had the Peaksmith 2 out at the time, and I just kind of thought, well, what I'd realised was that people don't like to palm these kinds of things. They
No.
want something to hide something within. Um, and I started to think about, well, what does a magician automatically have on them? And I started to build card boxes
Okay.
that hide remotes and hide electronic items. I've got one here just to show
Yeah.
you an example. Um, this is this is the evolution after many different variations, of what's called my covert case. And it originally started off as being a chance for you to have. I mean, it looks perfect.
Yeah, it
It
does.
looks really nice, and like that. And then originally for mental dice, you could have your mental dice receiver and
Oh, okay, that's clever.
with a magnetic
Mm.
and it's improved to such an extent now that well that could lie flat on a table like this. So if you're working at tables, it can go straight into your top pocket like this. Um, and it's looks really really nice. But the evolution of it is such now is that I store my dice inside it now. So
Oh,
these are
wow.
these are spotted dice, electronic dice, and then your Peaksmith is in that section.
Wow. Wow.
So I will be honest, Mark Kirstein came up with something like this before I got hold of it, but we've spoken a lot and made agreements, and this is my version made out of bicycle cards. It comes in any kind of stock that you'd like, but that's the button.
Wow.
I hand make all of this in my studio here, um, and yeah, so it's just a lovely way to have something very 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 natural. Just get your peak whenever you want to. It, it's it, it's perfect. So that was one of the first things that I started to make, although it would be a very very different very very different version. This is now all 3D printed. It's foam lined. Everything's perfect about it. Um, Started advertising that on the Facebook groups. Very very popular. I've made literally I've made hundreds of these and shipped them to so many different places in the world. We've sold to 20 different. I know it probably doesn't seem very much, but somebody like me, just working on my own and doing my own little thing here, we've shipped to 20 different countries in the world, and that makes me like that's really really buzzing because you think there are magicians in all different places all over the world using my things, and I love that kind of little feeling. So that was one of the first things that I made, and that proliferated into lots of different versions of ways to disguise and hide something within a normal object that a magician might have on them.
That's incredible.
Thank you, thank you.
Really good. Never seen anything like that before. That's great. Wow. So did the company form was that sort of the main product for British Secret Service? That
That was
sort.
the original. That was the original product, and from because if you put something on a Facebook group, you're going to get a lot of people who really really love it and people who have a problem with it. So magicians loved it, the mentalists not so much because mentalists don't use cards,
Mm,
or a lot of people would say, "Can you put a deck of cards in there as well?"
that's
Okay,
completely.
I'm a magician. I'm not a miracle worker, so I took that on a board as a bit of a challenge, and I've made a version. I wish I've got it in stock over there, but I wish I'd. You can see it on the website. It's called the Peak Thief,
Okay.
and the Peak Thief stores a Peaksmith or a mental and Verdi mental dice receiver, and stores 52 cards. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it basically looks like an open deck of cards. For all the world, you could sit it on a table like this, and it would look exactly like an open deck of cards. But it also stores 52 cards because it is indeed just a normal card box.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the Peak Thief, which is, you know, came from that kind of feedback. There's people saying, well, I can't. I need to be able to carry a deck of cards, or things like that. And I thought, that's a really really nice thing. I've made a lot of those for a lot of different people out of loads of different decks of cards. What's nice about the Peak Thief is it can be made out of literally any stock, like any stock at all. And I've made them out of Night Flights, like Steve's cards. I've made them out of DMCs
Oh yeah.
for people in America, all over the place. I've made one of these for Rune Colson, Jonathan Levitt, um, loads and loads of really nice people. Yeah.
Right.
So then it moved on, of course, and I'm starting to make. This is the business,
Okay.
and the business is uh, it looks like a stack of cards, a stack of business cards. It's going to take me a while to get this one open because I packaged it up. I should have thought this one through, but there are other versions,
Hmm.
and other people do make these kinds of things. I don't think it's proprietary, and I think anyone's got the right to kind of improve upon what people are doing. And this, there we go, perfect. Now that's my offering. Now I want to get that as close as possible, and it looks
Yeah,
like
it's just a stack of cards,
looks
right?
like a stack of cards. So it's 3D printed.
What you're telling me that's not a stack of cards?
It's not a stack of business cards. It's 3D printed, and it's stored and it's custom made to have your Wilson Nexus remote and your Peaksmith in there. And of course, you can use it for out to lunch as well. It's one of my favorite effects, out to lunch. But I do like literally my 3D printing guy, Sean Boone, does all the 3D printing, and I do all the finishing. And I just like to make it as artistic as possible. It's textured. It looks just it's undeniable. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So when I use it, what I'll do, I'll bring it out and I'll act like I've forgotten my pen, and you can put it in somebody's hand, and it feels the right weight as well. Get your pen and bring it back. And there's a subtle thing going on there, isn't there? That why would you put it in somebody's hand if there was something dodgy about it? So I like that double bluff. But
That's
back to the essence of British Secret Service, which is creating everyday objects that hide a secret. This is, I'm really pleased with this. It just looks undeniably like it's perfect. Yeah, so that's the business,
it.
and
That's
we've
so
moved on to loads of different things that hide remotes, and I've made loads of things for other people. I do a lot of custom work for people. People get in touch with me and ask me to do like like stuff for Labco, Mind Busters inside a card box, or um, there's a guy working in Torquay. He has like 5 shows. What is it? It's called what's it called? Peter, and he has a particular pitata. Is it called Peter or pitata? Can't remember. Um, Little device. He wanted that inside a card box. So yeah, I do a lot of custom work for people as well, to put their devices, as long as they'll fit, into stuff.
that's amazing. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
So so you built a name up for so you built a name up for yourself, creating, as we said, devices that hide other devices for magicians.
Mm. Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah,
But obviously, off the back of that, you then started releasing your own tricks. I know that because you
yeah.
showed amazing tricks
Thank you.
at Blackpool. So when did that come about? Because that's kind of a bit of a deviation behind what you planned on doing, right?
Yeah, that's where we started in terms of the electronic devices.
Hmm.
Um, and I'd always had things bubbling, as everybody does, has little tricks bubbling away in the back of your mind. And people might sit on these things for years and not do anything about them. And people ask me nowadays, like, how did you get to that point? And what gave you the confidence to go ahead and do that? And how can I put it? I just become obsessed about an idea, and it has to be, I have to create it, I have to make it, and it has to be out there, and I can't get onto something new until that thing's done. I used to I used to be in a band. I used to play guitar a lot, and I had a studio, and we would write music. And there's a really wonderful thing, and I don't know if you play instruments at all, do you, Craig?
I played the piano years ago, but
Sure, sure.
not anymore. Ryan plays the drums, but
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, rocker, right?
And if you ever record something that you've written, all of a sudden it's not this idea that just goes around and round in your head like an earworm. All of a sudden you can press play and you can listen to it, and it's you've created this thing out of your the ideas that come in your head. And it was just such a powerful thing. I think that's also progressed into my magic as well, is that you have these ideas, they're bubbling away in your head, and it's wonderful to have the the patience and the diligence to kind of sit and make things myself. Everything that we do is handmade. I have a guy who helps me prep things, especially for Blackpool. Mark Williams really helped prep a lot of things, and I hand finish everything myself. Um, so it's nice to have that skill and that talent, but I think a lot of people are going to have ideas for magic out there, and it's you should go ahead and do something with it. So yeah, I had these ideas, and I've got plenty more in store that I haven't really done anything with yet, or certainly will have releases for Blackpool 2024 ready. Um, and so yeah, I just went ahead and thought, okay, so we've got this stock of members on British Secret Service. People are buying regularly. 75% of people come back and buy again. And so I'll release my own things. And I started to think about going through other retailers, and I have done in the past with Saturn Magic. Brought out my first trick, and this is years ago. This is 10 years, easily a decade ago, called Popper, which is a signed coin to Party Popper.
No, I don't remember that.
It's a worker. I did it so many times at Blackpool, me and Nick, so to the point we've got Party Popper belts, like a utility belt with loads of Party Poppers in it. I do it every single gig, um, and I really love that trick. But I went through Saturn. Saturn have the rights to it, which is all well and good. But in a way, I wish I'd kept that for myself. And I tried to go through other like retailers for um, you know uh, first class and my other things that I'm making, Alchemy Project, and we've got about 12 different lines on British Secret Service now, and I was trying to go through other retailers, and things fell through. And the reason they fell through is that I'm impatient, and I don't know how much time you've got, and I want things to be out there, and I want them to be in the public realm, and I
Yeah.
want to be able to build that kind of legacy. I want people to know
And
what it
that's
is
the
that we're
biggest
doing.
problem with dealing with big companies. There's such a time delay on creating and releasing anything.
Yeah, God, yeah, and I think that's what I started to learn. And like I say, I'm impatient. So I called around a few people, and I got speaking to Vinny Sagoo. You know Vinny,
Yeah.
nicest guy in the world.
Neo Magic.
Neo Magic, yeah.
Yeah,
And
Vinny's a great guy.
he spent a good hour just chatting to me on the phone about how he went about Neo, and his journey in a way. And I took a lot from that, and a lot of bravery and a lot of confidence from that. And if it wasn't for people like Vinny, I wouldn't have been at Blackpool this year, sorry, 2023, because he kind of made me realise that you can do it for yourself, and you can
Mm.
just go out there and do it for yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
God, everyone's making it up as they go along, aren't they? Everyone's just making it all up as they go along. And I thought, well, God, I can do that too. So, irrespective of how successful or how much of a failure is whatever it is that you release, I like the idea of owning that.
Yeah.
I saw this video recently of this guy. You would never have heard of him, but he's releasing music and writing music for other singers. And he said, I could release a song for this singer, and it would get however many million streams, and I would get £10,000 from that,
Yeah.
or I could release it myself and get far less streams and earn more than that. And irrespective, he said, of whether or not if it's a real failure, I can then at least own that failure. And I really like that feeling that
Yeah.
because whether or not something goes really well, or whether or not something doesn't go as well as you'd hoped, you're going to learn a heck of a lot from that.
Yeah.
There's a lot that doing all the custom work for people and being able to do all the customer service and all the sales myself, and have all those conversations with people, and you can learn so much from people, and you build so many connections with people,
Yeah.
and you can start to build this kind of community around you in that when I need help, because I've always been very guarded, I've always been a quite a private person, what I've realized is that you can make something so much better by collaborating with other people and by finding out what they think about it, and not shield it all to yourself. Release it to the trusted people.
Yeah.
They will give you 100, 200, 300% more feedback than you'd have ever thought about.
Yeah.
And there are lots of people out there that will help you, and I really, so yeah, I like the idea of being able to control things. Well, I'm a bit of a control freak, I guess.
Oh, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I guess.
Nothing wrong with that. So, on the subject, I mean, would you ever consider releasing your stuff through Murphy's Magic? Because, obviously the only place that you can get a lot of the products that you create is directly through you. And I understand not working with other companies, but, when you have the finished product that you created yourself,
Yeah.
the reason you've never gone, hey, here are Murphy's, please distribute this to magic shops around the world.
Well, it's funny you say that, but I have this effect, or should I call it a project or concept, called the Alchemy Project, and it is a radically new way to use electronic dice, the technology that everybody's got, but in completely new ways.
Oh, wow.
On the project, you've got a parlor version, stage version, a close-up version. Yeah, I've done everything myself, kind of come up with the idea myself, and then I believe Murphy's brought out the chess pieces.
Yep. Yep. Little chess pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, I got quite worried that a small operator like me, a lot of people wouldn't have heard of what I'm doing. It might be that someone might stumble upon the same idea, the same kind of concept.
Yeah.
And so I sent the tutorial through to Murphy's, more as a way to kind of stamp my ownership of it.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything back from them. Now I don't know whether that means it's good or bad. I know it's good. In fact, it's my top seller, so I know it's good. And I've got my own kind of Facebook group, alchemists, of people that use it, and people love it as an idea. It's great. I was interested that Murphy's didn't get back to me, but I did. It wasn't really the effort to kind of release it through them. Not that I wouldn't be open to those kind of discussions, because it's a great idea, but more as to kind of stamp my authority on it. I wanted to say that this is my idea, that I'd sent it to you, I've been selling this for ages, you could show people your account. There's so many posts on Facebook of this particular trick, so it wouldn't be taken by a larger player that I'd have no leg to stand on against people like that. But
Oh,
in answer to your question, I would be open to that kind of thing. I think with certain skews in our lines, yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay. And uh, what are your plans for British Secret Service? I mean, obviously, it's a small site that's getting bigger every single day. At the moment, it's got all of your own unique creations on there.
Yeah.
Are you looking to, I mean, it's only 2 years old. Are you looking to expand? Are you looking to bring more people on board that British Secret Service can work with, or you want it to be exclusively about you and your style and your approach to
Well,
magic?
we're already doing that kind of thing with my kind of the people that I collaborate with. So Peter Bright is a real trusted friend of mine, and we came up with a good couple of ideas together. One of which is the Bright Dice. I'll show you. I've got a little version of it here. So this is our dice shell.
Yeah,
I believe it's the finest in the market. This is just one version, which is my takeaway version, takeaway food.
that's killer. I didn't even realize that. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
So there is an opening to it. It's very, very difficult to discern how to open it. It doesn't rattle. It's lovely weight. And we've got the Bright Dice is basically 6 dice in one. Okay. So it basically means you've got different sticker sets, 6 of them.
Ah, right. Okay.
So you can take them off and you could replace them with a different sticker set. So ESP, we've got Mayan symbols. This is my favorite, which is the takeaway, because I say, me and my wife, we can't agree on anything. So you imagine what a nightmare date night is. So when we want to choose a takeaway, we roll the dice. And it's a lovely way to, a nice kind of hook line. So that's one version. And then this is our stage version.
Wow.
So this holds an electronic dice inside it, and this is really popular for stage workers.
And that will work just like normal.
Yeah, yeah. Look, you'd get 15 meters reception, no question, no question.
That's
and it's so visual. So it's so visual from a long distance away. So that's the Bright Dice. So Peter
That's
the idea, and I designed it, and then we got Sean to make them, and so yeah, we're already collaborating with other people. Peter's got ideas to release he's working on at the moment. I've got at least two new things that I want to have ready for Blackpool 24. One really cute little idea that I want to release, and then a larger kind of project. So yeah, I just love what it is that we're doing, and I love the chance to kind of express that creativity, and also, like I said, do all that kind of custom work on the side, where because I make some cards and stuff for quite famous people now, which is great, because like Luke Lenihan just used one of my flap cards on BGT, and I'm like, that is for me that's a really big deal. And people are getting in touch now, you know, who are really quite popular, and so it kind of gives you that. I don't need that validation anymore. I know what I'm doing is good. I know what I'm doing is of really superlative quality, and that's what I always wanted. Like, think about that rubbish card that I received. My ethos is that if it's not perfect, it doesn't leave the studio. It's got to be right, because if you wouldn't use it yourself, I wouldn't sell it to anybody.
Yeah,
I think that's really important, because I don't make cards for spectators. I make them for magicians. And magicians are very discerning, and they're very particular about what it is that they like and what they don't. So I think, I want to make a really good quality products that are handmade. That's got something about them.
that's great.
Thank you.
So what's the plan? So right, what I'm trying to say is,
what's the plan in the future? What's the 5-year plan?
So well, it's incredible what you're doing, and that's absolutely amazing. But Where do you see yourself and British Secret Service in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? Are
Mm,
you? I mean, you mentioned earlier on about how you'd love to make this a full-time thing, this and performing. Is
mm.
that the ultimate goal? Are you? You know, where are you wanting to go with all of this?
Yeah, I mean, this is the what I haven't put a heck of a lot of thought into, and I do need to probably have those next conversations with
Yeah.
people who are ahead of you, and find out, where to go with it next. I know what I want to do for Blackpool 24, and I want to create like a real shopping experience for people. I want people to kind of walk in to the British Secret Service. I want the stand to look. I know what the stand is going to look like, so I know what I know that far in the distance in the future. But I want to get more exposure. I want to get more members. I want to get more people realizing what it is that we're doing. And if it gets to the point where, as it's kind of teetering over the edge now of me being able to handle, creating everything myself. That's why I've got like my apprentice on board now. I want to I want to get more people into that team, and it would be incredible to grow it to a point. But I think there's a limit to the amount of exposure that I can get, and the amount of reach that you can have, the amount of influence you can have, and therefore the amount of trust that people have in you.
Hmm.
Because it's all very well, people can go and visit on the site. You've got all the ways to pay for an item, and the items are great. I'm really, really proud of what we've been able to achieve so far. But people have got to press that buy button, haven't they? And therefore they've got to trust in you. And so I've got a lot to learn in respect of making that customer journey on the website better. There's a lot of things that I do need to improve, and I think that's probably the next thing to do to grow your audience. Um, have more and more uh, products of the kinds of things that we want to create, and not just like the covert cases and things like this, but also our own tricks. Have more tricks on board, and move on in that direction. Really, I haven't got a 5-year plan, but if you look at people like Barry Fazakli, Black
Yes.
Cat Magic.
Yes.
Barry's just excellent guy, and Vinny, and I just need to have those conversations, and then push on from there. Probably, like I say, I haven't got a massive plan about it. I'm just enjoying what it is that we're doing at the minute.
That's great. That's fantastic. And let's just quickly circle back and talk about your let's just talk, because obviously creating magic, and I talk about this with a lot of people that come on this channel.
Hmm.
When you're a creator of magic, um the big problem is how to create and what to do if you kind of lose inspiration, or if you
Right.
have the magical equivalent of writer's block.
Yeah.
A lot of people that come into magic that want to be creators, they want to learn how to create, they want to create their own tricks.
Yeah.
As somebody who is doing that very, very effectively, could you share any, if you had to give people one piece of advice on creating,
Hmm.
what and how to create their own magic, what would you say?
Oh gosh, I'm sure it's different for loads of different people, and people have got their own ways of doing things. But I can't just sit there and go, right, today I'm going to make up a magic trick. I'm not Kayla Morelli. You do like one every. That's probably a really old reference, but didn't he do like a whole year? Who created a new trick every
You
day?
did.
I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not that kind of person. I think it's got to. It's a 3 in the morning kind of. I've got to write this down kind of thing. It's got to dawn on you. You might have little problems that you want to solve, or little ideas that are kind of floating around in the background, and all of a sudden something's got to give, and you'll find that solution. But in terms of advice, I think it's got to come naturally. I don't think you can force it, because you can try and force something, it's going to be contrived. And the worst thing about a magic trick is that it's contrived, or a routine is that it's contrived. I mean, like most like predictions that you might see, a prediction can be construed as the audience as something really, really amazing, or it can seem to be okay. We were taken through a maze to get to this point. That was the only destination. And I think people have got to get away from something being contrived. It's got to feel natural. It's got to feel quite organic. And I think that's what we're trying to do. Some of the I've got a couple of predictions of my own, and the way I've tried to approach it is that it does feel it feels natural. It feels like it's got that organic feel to it. I just I just think that I can't just sit there and say I'm going to make something up today. It's got to dawn on you. You've got to be gripped by that inspiration. I mean, it's all well and good to see lots of what other people are doing. It's good to have an idea what's out there in the marketplace, but it's best to do your own thing. It's
Yeah.
best to carve your own course, shut yourself away from things, and let things um, ferment in your own mind, and then you'll be on a different path to other people. I mean, Kieran has always said to me that you shouldn't do what other people are doing, and I've already taken that on board. So in my close up and in my stage work, I'm trying to do something that's different from other people, and same as it is with creating. I think if you can, shut yourself away, don't be too inspired by other people, and you'll come up with something great. And I love the Cure, and Robert Smith is exactly that. He doesn't care what anybody else is doing. He doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He's just doing it for himself. And another band that I love is Loathe. I don't know if you know Loathe from Liverpool, black
Yeah.
metal band. They're amazing. Been to see them. They're like incredible. And they're saying you can't do something with the purpose of releasing it. You can't do something with a purpose of it being popular. Otherwise, it will feel forced and it will feel contrived. And I think there's a lot to take on board from people who are creating in other industries and in other avenues, and hear what they've got to say.
Yeah. That's great.
You like Loathe?
Huh?
You like Loathe?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, my favourite. My
I
favourite band at the
have
minute.
the most eclectic taste in music. I listen
Sweet.
to if you saw my Spotify playlist, you'd be like, what?
Yeah,
I just listen to everything, and
wicked.
I'll suddenly say, hey, I like this, and people will go, you like that? I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to anything. I don't care. For me, I listen to a lot of music when I'm creating, and lots of different, and depending on the mood I'm in is the type of music that I play. So,
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, it's good.
but yeah. Um, what do you do if you get? Have you ever had or suffered from like the magical equivalent of writer's block? Like you've got this solution, you've got this idea that you know
Mm,
that you can bring to fruition,
mm.
can't work it out. What do you do in that situation?
I would just sit there and I'll just work through all the equations. I see it like a chess game.
Hmm.
There's there's going to be a best move, isn't there? There's always a best move,
Yes.
and figuring out a magic trick or figuring out the solution or way, the way to get there is, you know, there is a solution to it. You just got to sit there and find it. So I think what I will do, I mean, I'll use my notes on my phone a lot, and I've got racks and racks of just ideas and things that are all going to, come up in the future. But what I've realised is that I would write something out and then you delete it, or you'd write something out and you kind of get rid of it. But you shouldn't. You should keep everything. And if you keep everything, then at some point you're going to no, there's something there it is, and you realise that you've got in your ammo belt already. I think I can't remember the writer, but he's written a book recently, and he's talking about exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter if the idea is rubbish. It doesn't matter. And I think a lot of people stop themselves from moving forwards in creativity because they think, oh no, that's rubbish, that's not going to work, or that's not as good as I wanted it to be. It doesn't matter, because every little step forward over time is going to be a massive step forward. And I think so. I keep everything. I've got notebooks and loads of notes on my phone, and all. Yeah, and I think you will just have lots of things in the background if you just go to its nth degree. If you try and take it to its nth degree, even if it doesn't kind of feel right, or if it feels contrived, or if it doesn't have the effect that you're looking for, you'll be able to have that in your bin, not only just in your experience and your confidence of creating tricks or creating other things, but also you might be able to call back on that, maybe not as in its form then, but in its evolved form. Because every time you wake up, you're a completely brand new person, aren't you? And you'll look at things with brand new eyes. So I think you should keep everything. And yes, but I will sit there if I can't figure out what I want, and I'll come up with loads of different variations of what I want to achieve. And you might have five different solutions, and then one of them will be, one of them will be the one. And I'll also, as I've started to realize, is talk to other people about it, the people you trust, and they will give you so much in return. So if you trust those people and you help them, they will help you so much more back. um so I've learned not to be so guarded, and to trust, and to be more open in that. And the collaborative way is so the best way. I saw this, and another video. This lady was saying at school, we're taught to do everything on our own. We're taught to do everything perfectly, and you're taught to do everything as quickly as possible. And this everything we're taught is completely incorrect, because you've got to collaborate. You can't do things on your own. Nothing you do is ever going to be perfect, although the pursuit of perfection is admirable. Nothing's going to be perfect, and you should take your time. And I just love people who can help me see things, even at my age, see things in a completely different way. And I think that collaborative style is one of the major things that I've learned in the 2 years.
Wow. But when you're collaborating, I've heard many, many magicians, I've actually experienced this myself, that have shared their idea with somebody, and then that idea has just been taken and released, and you've ended up in a situation where you can't release your trick anymore because somebody else did it who you happened to show
Sure.
it to.
Sure.
When you're collaborating, how do you make sure that doesn't happen? Is there a way to negate that? Because creating a magic trick takes a lot of time and effort and
Yeah.
patience. Have that ripped away just by somebody, it's not a nice feeling, and I'm sure you've heard of people it's happened to in the past.
Well, I mean, I would only talk to the people that I'm really close with. The people that, this, like Robert Dean and Peter Bright, and the people that that we work together, and there's this bond of trust. And I know I would never do anything with something of theirs, and they would never do something with something of mine.
Yeah.
So I think you would have to have a close knit people that you really really trust.
Yeah.
But those are the people that I would speak with. And also I'll tell you this, that, like I say, I have a lot of people that come and buy from the site, and then they'll come back and buy the next thing, and then they'll buy a whole stock of like the rest of the things that they haven't bought yet. And I start to build like really really good relationships with these people, to the point where like Mark Deach, he was on Flawless. We're great friends now, and he's featured a good three of my things on his Magic Room, which he does every week. I think he's up to week 200 and something or other now. But
Wow.
he's done three of mine, and that's really really nice. And when he does his videos, you can see my things on his shelves behind him. I'm like, that's really really nice. Um, I feel like I can reach out to Mark and speak to him about ideas, and I did the other day with this new thing. And I'm going to send him a version of it. He's got a group of guys, and they meet up every fortnight, like 6 of these guys, and they've been doing this for like decades. And they've got that trust and that bond and that tight knit group that help each other. And I feel fine about that because I know that I trust him. So that trust, I think, is really, really important.
I think trust, you're right. I mean, I think that's one of the most important things. Trust. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So one last question.
Cool.
What else have you got on your magical bucket list, Mike? You've achieved an awful lot. I mean, you've been, what 15 years now. You said a little while ago, 15 years.
I've been performing for performing professionally for 15 years, at least, I suppose. I just did my exam, not my exam, my interview with the Magic Circle, and sat here and did my routine, and was told that I was exam ready.
Oh wow, that's
And
great.
that was like, I was so I can't tell you how nervous I was. Like performing for X Magic Circle Close Up Magician of the Year, and you think, oh my gosh, But I did exactly as I wanted to do it, and said I was exam ready, and that's my next ambition, is to go up to London and do my exam and become a member. Obviously an apprentice now, but I'd love to become a member. That's something that I really, really love. Obviously, I'm involved with Southend Sorcerers, and I'm in the stage competition this Sunday. So I want to grow that kind of stage presence and that stage career. So we've got our Dixon studio show every August, and I've got other shows, other stage shows going on as well, which is really, really nice. I'd like to have there's some little theatres in and around Essex, which are really accessible, and affordable for someone at my level to be able to put on my own show. So I'd like to do something at Christmas, or those particular dates. That's that in terms of my performing life. I really do like stage work. I mean, I love close up. I love close up, but you can control everything in a stage show, and you know exactly what's going to happen next. I mean, I love both. Love sleight of hand magic, and I love larger illusions and things. But I'd love to grow that kind of part of my stage career. But the next thing is definitely maybe in June, go up and do my exam for Magic Circle, and that'll be a real kind of, it's like, what do they call it? It's like that's just going to be a really, really big thing for me.
Yeah,
To
oh yeah.
be at that kind of pinnacle, and to perform in front of those kinds of people that can really kind of say,
And
this is
also,
this is where you're at.
it's not far from Essex to the Circle. So I mean,
No,
once it's
no, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. But that'll be the next thing. Yeah,
okay. That's amazing. Um, yeah. I mean, this is absolutely, this has been an incredible interview. Like I said to you before I started the interview, I didn't really know much about British Secret Service or you. You blew me away. I'll openly tell you. I'll tell everybody. Your handling of Keymaster was simply divine. Really was. You walked over to me at the Roskin, showed me the handling, and I thought it was incredible. I really did. Really smart, really clever routing and thinking. And just the sort of thing that I love seeing, which is people taking the tricks and making it their own, which is, I think, something we should all strive to do.
I bought literally every version of it, so well done. It's a great trick.
Oh, thank you. It's it's probably the thing I'm most proud of. But yeah, so I got blown away, and then I'm doing a review show, obviously, on your products very soon. I'm a big fan. I have become a big fan of you, Mike. I will continue to be a big fan. I'm looking forward to seeing what else that you've got coming out, because It's exciting. I mean, is the next big batch of releases going to be? You've mentioned Blackpool 24. Are you gearing up for a couple? Can you give us a sneak peek of anything that's coming out in
Not,
the next 12
not,
months? Not in terms that
not a sneak peek, but
yeah, I'm not asking you
I'll
to
tell you that.
perform anything, but can you give us a little snippet of information or something?
Yeah, for Blackpool, I will have a particular deck that I
Ooh,
want to create. So that'll be a way to. No, I don't want to say too much about it, otherwise I will waffle about it. But yeah, it'll be a deck for Blackpool, which I'm really, really excited about the concept. And then in between, we've got a couple of things. One that Peter's going to release, which is
Peter Nardi.
Peter Bright,
Peter
my
Bright,
founder,
right.
Peter Bright. He's got our first digital download, which will be our first one on the site. And then I've got this lovely, nostalgic little piece, which will be my EDC. That's all I'm going to say.
I love EDC.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on at the minute, just kind of tinkering with that, and casting it out to those people, like I say, to get their feedback. And yeah, really excited about that. Tiny little thing in your wallet, but I think you can do a lot with it.
That sounds amazing. That
Yeah,
sounds amazing. I cannot wait. And do you have a mailing list on your website?
a mailing list.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
people.
people can sign up as a secret agent, and they can. I will mail out things to them when they sign up. And in fact, I have a special offer for your viewers. If you go onto the website, you people who are a member or one of my secret agents, they will know that I do regular code breaking competitions. So if you're a secret agent, break a code and you can get certain special offers. But this will be open for everybody who's viewing this. And let's do it in perpetuity. So even if you're watching this in 2050, it will still be available. You'll be able to download a PDF of something that you can cut out, and it will be a cipher. And if you use that cipher in a particular way, you'll be able to break a code and get a special offer of anything on the website. How about that?
Wow, I love that you're having to get people to work for it. That's amazing.
So yeah, you've got to break a code.
Mm.
Yeah, so the one clue I will say is when you download it, it will be a very ancient way of ciphering and deciphering certain codes.
Mm.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, now I'm very interested.
I will feature that on the website, and I'm going to sort that out, and that will be live tomorrow.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm going to be jumping on there tomorrow and trying to work it out. That's fantastic.
Wicked.
Mike, thank you so much for jumping on the channel. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
I
taking the
really
time out.
appreciate your time. No problem, buddy. We're going to be doing a review show special soon, but I want everybody who's watched this interview to leave a comment down below. Let people know what they thought. I love the interview. I'm sure Mike will read the comments. So leave a comment down below, and also go onto the website. Go onto the website. I'm a big fan of Mike's material, so make sure you go onto the website. The website address is britishsecretservice.co.uk. That's britishsecretservice.co.uk. And as Mike said, you can sign up there and become a secret agent. Also, you can follow the guys on Facebook as well, which is again British Secret Service. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's the British Secret Service. Let me just have a quick look.
The British Secret Service.
Yeah, I think so. Let me just have a quick look.
No problem. Want to get it right.
No, it's British Secret Service. Facebook.
British Secret Service, yes. And then on Instagram, you are the British Secret Service.
That's it. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The British Secret Service. So make sure that you're following Mike on all of those platforms. Go check out everything on the site. It's all amazing. Leave a comment down below. And Mike, one more time, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, buddy. Guys, on behalf of Mike Davis, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Talk Magic, and I'll be back again soon with another video. On behalf of Mike, we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.